Hey there, baseball fans. This is Phil Chinnery coming at you from the Florida Collegiate Summer League office. With me, as always, from Altamont Springs, we have David Bloomberg. From DeLand, we have Luke Hallett. From Sanford, we have Cody Shook. From Winter Garden, we have Kevin Valine. And from Winter Park, we have Casey Wright. And today is July 4th, so happy Independence Day to America and all of our lovely citizens and baseball fans. Today we're going to talk about the All-Star team for the 2017 Florida League season. The votes are in from the coaches, the league staff, and we had a league record 1,442 fan votes this year. Absolutely awesome. We really appreciate all the fan support there. All the players truly appreciate it as well. We had a bunch of shares, likes, retweets, all that good stuff on social media. Had a ton of interaction. Like I said, over 1,400 fan votes to help determine these teams. So what we're going to do today is announce these teams. We have some pretty great athletes lined up for both the North and the South team for the All-Star game. Of course, the breakdown that we do for the North is the players from DeLand, Sanford, and Leesburg are the North team. And for the South, we have the players from Altamont Springs, Winter Garden, and Winter Park. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and announce the rosters for the 2017 Florida League All-Star Game presented by Central Florida McDonald. So first, from the North All-Star team, the starting catcher is going to be Eli Marrero from the Sanford River Rats, and the secondary catcher is going to be John Jones, also from the Sanford River Rats. So Cody, tell us about the two catchers from Sanford.
Eli Marrero from St. Thomas has 3 home runs so far and 12 RBIs. Has 10 walks. The kid gets on base, and then he's also a threat on the base pass. 4 stolen bases. You're going to hear me say that a lot throughout this whole thing. Everybody on the team has a lot of stolen bases. That's why we lead the league with so many. And then John Jones from South Carolina against Altamont broke open a tie, really put that ball game in a tailspin. And then his big thing in his first game at Sanford Memorial, picked off 2 guys. Has a very good arm behind the plate, and from Eli Marrero's standpoint, I've never seen a catcher back pick more guys or just throw the ball around the way Eli Marrero does, and that's why he's so successful back there. But combined, 14 of 46 caught stealing, so it's difficult to run on those guys.
Yeah, another fun fact about both those catchers, they're both former MLB draft picks. John Jones was selected by the Twins out of high school, I believe in 2014, and Eli Marrero was drafted by the Reds out of high school in 2016. So a couple MLB draft picks will be representing the North All-Star team. On the South side, the starting catcher is going to be Anthony George from the Altamont Springs Scorpions, and Chase Smart will be his backup from the Winter Garden Squeeze. So David, tell me a little bit about Anthony George.
All right. Mike's back. All right, so actually Anthony George, it's funny because he hasn't played the majority of his games at catcher. He's played the majority of his games in the infield, but he is a natural catcher. He's a catcher by trade, but he's split his time between second and third and catcher by necessity for the Scorpions. And so he's kind of versatile, and that in its own right is very valuable. That's good to have on an all-star team where by nature, you're just going to be moving guys around a lot and switching guys out quite a bit. For George, he's started 13 games. He's been pretty good, 795 OPS. He gets on base at a 462 clip, which is obviously pretty good. 8 walks to only 7 strikeouts. It's always good when you're walking more than you're striking out. And he, that's something he does really, really well. He's generated pretty modest power, 333 batting average, and also a 333 slugging percentage. So really not a ton of power being generated, but the way he gets on base and the way he approaches each plate appearance is what makes him valuable. And he does a pretty good job receiving pitches back there. From what I've seen, he's a fairly advanced blocker for his level. He blocks pitches well. He's got a pretty strong throwing arm, which he's developed from playing both catcher and third. And so he's a guy who definitely is deserving of his spot on the All-Star team.
All right. And Kevin, tell me about Chase Smart from the Squeeze. Maybe. Kevin? All right. Well, I'll talk a little about Chase Smart off the top of my head. Looks like Kevin might be muted here unless he's back. No? All right, cool. So Chase Smart is from Troy University. He joined the team a little bit late. He's only played, I believe, in 9 games, and out of those 9 games, he's only caught a couple of them. But with that being said, he is a natural catcher. Coach Jay Welsh loves his work ethic. Coach Welsh said that Smart is probably one of the top 3 catchers in the league this season. He's just been playing in the infield out of necessity. There's been a lot of injuries on that Winter Garden infield. So Smart is a versatile player. He's able to get out there like Anthony George and play multiple positions. So good for him on Chase Smart. He's hitting .409 on the year, by the way. Big reason why he made the team. So next up, we're going to go with the North Infielders. The leading vote getter for the North Infield was Omar Villeman from the Sanford River Rats. He was followed by Kevin Lambert of the Leesburg Lightning, Cody Orther of the Sanford River Rats, Tristan Gagin of the Leesburg Lightning. 5th was Gunnar Lambert from the River Rats, and 6th was Alejandro Martinez from the River Rats. So, Cody, we'll go back to you. 4 out of the 6 infielders for the North team from the River Rats. Let's hear about them.
I think it's well-deserved. They are a very good bunch of guys, and, it's tough because Francis Villeman's not on it. He hasn't been playing as much of late, but defensively, an absolutely phenomenal shortstop. So, Alejandro Martinez from Lynn, batting .273, 1 home run, 8 RBIs, and 9 walks. So the guy gets on base, he drives in runs. Gunnar Lambert from Florida Atlantic, batting .320, 2 doubles, 1 home run, 4 RBIs. So a lot of these guys have the pop to get the ball over the fence. Cody Orther, Mr. Singles, the guy with the best name on the field every time he steps on it, from High Point, batting .302, led the league in batting average after the first week in batting average. 7 RBIs, 5 walks, 6 hit by pitches, so on-base percentage incredible there. Had a walk-off sac fly against Leesburg down the right field line. He has 4 stolen bases, so Cody Orther plays third base, second base, DHs, pinch hits, does whatever he needs to do. Omar Villeman, what more can I say about him? Just had the walk-off single versus Altamont a few days ago. Batting .283. Last year batted over .400. He has 2 home runs, 9 RBIs, and 5 walks. He doesn't have too many stolen bases. Not sure really why there. He's a very fast guy, very smart. But then Rodney, and then that's just the infielders for Sanford. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, they've done a great job all year. And I'll talk about the Leesburg Lightning players that were selected. First, Kevin Lambert, the shortstop from Western Kentucky, hitting .333 on the year. He scored 9 times, has 3 doubles, a home run, 2 RBIs, and maybe most importantly for them, he started almost every game at short. He only has 1 error on the year. So Kevin Lambert, very well deserving there. And then Tristan Gagin from Southeast Missouri. He's only hitting .242 on the year. However, he's actually just mashing the ball. He's got 14 runs scored, 6 doubles, which is 3rd in the league. He's got 2 home runs, 11 RBIs, and he's walked 14 times. His on-base percentage is at .393, so just shy of .400. He's a guy who absolutely gets that Lightning offense going. He provides the spark, if you will, for them. So he's had a great season all year long, the big first baseman, Tristan Gagin. With that, we're going to move on to the South All-Stars, the South Infield. The number 1 vote getter overall in the entire league was Sadler Goodwin from the Winter Garden Squeeze. Obviously well-deserved there. He's having a great season. Number 2 was Christian Maglich from the Winter Park Diamond Dogs. The 3rd infielder was Drew Frederick from the Squeeze. Number 4, 5, and 6, all from the Winter Park Diamond Dogs. Number 4, Danny Rodriguez. Number 5, Jacob Catsby. And number 6, Christian Rivera. So we're going to try Kevin again. Kevin, can you hear me? All right, cool. All right, so sorry for the technical difficulties there with Kevin. So I'll go with Winter Garden with what I can try to pull off the top of my head. Sadler Goodwin, easily the front runner for the MVP this year. He's got 4 home runs, I believe 26 RBIs, which doubles the next best total in RBIs for the league, having an amazing season out of Troy University. Also from Troy is Drew Frederick, the middle infielder. Kevin, are you here now?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hey, there he is.
Okay,
Kevin,
yeah. I just had to leave and come back. All right, we're talking about Sadler Goodwin, right?
Yeah, we're talking about the infields. You got to talk about Goodwin, Drew Frederick, and that's it.
Yeah, so starting off with Sadler Goodwin, he has been the fire for this offense, hitting .352 with a .648 on base, driving in 26 RBIs, 4 homers. He has led this team all season at that middle of the order. And what's crazy about him, too, is that he can play all over the diamond. He can play third base, shortstop, second base, and he's even pitched a few games. He had an appearance where he went 4 innings and didn't give up a hit. So not only has he been the best hitter, really, in the Florida League, but he's been able to play all over the diamond for the Squeeze. And for a team that has struggled with injury in their lineup and struggled with some inconsistency, Sadler Goodwin is a godsend for them on offense to keep this team going.
Yeah, absolutely. And what can you tell us about Drew Frederick?
So Drew Frederick is from Troy University, Sadler Goodwin as well, Troy University. Frederick hitting .339 with a .406 on base and a .411 slugging. He's also been another guy that's been incredibly consistent for this team. 2 doubles, a triple, 5 walks, 8 strikeouts, and he has 5 stolen bases and 6 attempts. So he has been a consistent guy and he's been all over the diamond as well. Third base, shortstop, second base. He's been a leader on this team, and again, on a team that's kind of struggled on offense, he's been a guy that has consistently appeared at the top of the lineup and has produced out of that number 2, number 3 spot, and it's been really needed for this team.
All right, Casey, we got 4 Winter Park Diamond Dogs representing the infield. Tell us all about them.
We'll start with Christian Maglitz from Florida Southern infield. He's played some outfield this year, but mainly infield at third base and first base on the corners. He leads Winter Park in batting average right now, .375. He's third in the Florida Collegiate Summer League in batting average with that average as well. 18 hits this year, 2 home runs, and 5 RBIs from the Moccasin, as well as 6 doubles. So he's been a pioneer in the lineup as far as batting third, fourth, fifth. Coach Shaw has put him pretty much everywhere, and he's been our best guy to get on base the most. Moving to Jacob Catsby from Wichita State, first baseman. He's batting .300. He came a little bit late this season, but he's made an impact. 12 hits, 2 home runs, coming in the same game, by the way, back-to-back innings versus Sanford this past week, and 10 runs and 9 RBIs for him as well. Christian Rivera, shortstop, Weber International, batting .265, and the reason his average isn't the highest as most is that he bats in the 9-hole, but for the 9-hole, he's got 13 hits, 10 runs, 12 RBIs, and his patience is impeccable. I've never seen a guy take so many pitches, and that gives him 10 walks, which leads Winter Park this year. He's a guy that gets on base, and with those 10 runs, like you can see, he obviously is a good guy to get the lineup going around again with the top of the order coming up. Danny Rodriguez from Reinhardt is batting .311. He's got 19 hits this season, 1 home run, 7 runs, 5 RBIs, and 7 stolen bases as well. He is really fast. A lot of his hits actually are infield hits, and he beats them out with routine ground balls. The 7 stolen bases leads Winter Park and is tied for 4th in the Florida Collegiate Summer League.
Yeah, the Winter Park Diamond Dogs offense, obviously I've seen them play a ton as the GM of the team. That offense is scary, top to bottom, 1 to 9, especially with Rivera in that 9-hole. I mean, that is a team that no pitcher in this league wants to face. They can swing it at any part of the lineup. It's really impressive. So not that surprised seeing 4 guys in the infield there for the all-star team in the South. Moving on to the North outfield, Matt Mulkey was actually the number 1 vote getter from the DeLand Suns. Number 2 was Camden Williamson from the Leesburg Lightning. Number 3 was Cage Cox from the Leesburg Lightning. Number 4, Rodney Tenney from the River Rats. And number 5 was Richie Rivera from the River Rats. So, Luke, you get to talk a little bit now. Welcome to the show. And tell us about Matt Mulkey.
Well, thanks for having me, Phil. Matt Mulkey, batting .344 on the year, leading the Suns, on base percentage at .364, and slugging at .391. He leads the team in slugging as well. He's a junior outfielder from Winthrop. Does a little bit of everything. Hasn't been in the lineup recently. Been unavailable for the past couple of days. He's got 9 runs, 4 RBIs, 3 doubles, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, and a stolen base. So he really does a lot for this team. Generally plays center field. He's played DH once or twice. But he's really a great player that they put at the top of the lineup. He's played the 1 spot, the 3 spot, 4, I think 2 a couple times as well. And it's been excellent defense he provides in center field and just a solid bat. He's been real consistent towards the top of the lineup for Coach Hall, getting on base at a solid percentage.
Yeah, he's having a great year. One of the few bright spots for a DeLand offense that has been struggling. But it's really nice to see him do well. I'll touch on the 2 Leesburg guys real quick before we go to Cody. Camden Williamson from North Carolina A&T, the Aggies, hitting .378 on the year, which is 2nd in the league. But he actually has a .509 on-base percentage, which leads the league. He scored 4 times and driven in 6 runs. He's a guy he gets on base a ton, whether it's a walk or a hit. He's on base. He hasn't scored a ton as he bats near the bottom of the Leesburg lineup. He's had a little trouble getting across because his teammates haven't really picked him up that low. But that being said, he's a great player. He's got some pretty solid speed there, just a real consistent bat for Rich Billings. And then Cage Cox from Alabama State is actually the reigning Florida League Player of the Week. He had a huge week last week, overall hitting .293 on the season. He scored 16 times so far, which is second in the league. He's got 4 doubles, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs, and 5 steals. This kid was a freshman All-American at Alabama State. Can absolutely swing it. He can run. He can field the ball. He's a 5-tool guy, as close as we're going to get in this league to a 5-tool player. He's had a great season. He's really turning it up. He started off a little bit slow, but he had a 2-home-run game against Winter Garden, and he's swinging a hot stick right now. So look out for that Leesburg lineup as these guys continue to play well. Cody, go ahead and tell us about Richie Rivera and Rodney Tenney from Sanford.
So Rodney Tenney from Georgia Gwinnett, coming into it with a .277 batting average. He is the leadoff guy, gets on base, does his job, sees a lot of pitches at the top of the lineup. 8 stolen bases, and he has a 3-hit game against DeLand. He really gets things going for the River Rats. And then Richie Rivera, the number 9 batter, so they have speed at the top and the bottom of the lineup. 15 stolen bases. He has 2 home runs. He has 16 runs scored from the number 9 spot. So Richie Rivera from Tampa and Rodney Tenney, very good outfielders, very speedy.
Yeah, no, they're both perfect fits for that Sanford offense. Kevin Davidson loves to have his guys run, and those are 2 of the fastest guys in the league. And they've shown they're scoring a ton of runs, stealing a bunch of bags. So good job by them representing the North outfield. Moving on to the South outfield. From the Altamont Springs Scorpions, no surprise here, Ray Alejo was the leading vote getter for the South outfield. He's followed by Kyle Gutveg from Winter Park, Jacob Silverstein from Winter Garden, Brandon White from Winter Park, Rigsby Mosley from Altamont, and Kyle Gutveg actually can't play in the All-Star game. His sister's getting married on that Saturday, so congratulations to her. So to replace him, Garrett Zeck has been named to the All-Star team as well from Altamont Springs. So we'll start with Altamont. So David, tell us about Alejo, Mosley, and Zeck.
So Alejo is the league leader in OPS, the league leader among qualifying hitters in batting average, second among qualifying hitters in on-base percentage, and the league leader in slugging percentage. Alejo's been the best hitter in the Florida Collegiate Summer League thus far. He's been really extraordinary. He's hit 4 home runs, 2 doubles, 2 triples. He gets on base at an extraordinary clip of .506. And that's with a .397 batting average. So you know that's not just a fluke because that's well above his batting average. And he does all of that while playing excellent defense in center field, which is not a position he's used to playing. He's a shortstop by trade. The Scorpions have moved him out to center field by necessity, and he's done excellently out there. He runs nice routes. He looks like he knows how to get to where the ball is going. He makes good reads out there. And that's been something that has really helped the team out a lot, is his versatility, being able to do that. And like I said before, he's really an extraordinary hitter. He's stolen 10 bases, is 10 out of 13 on that, which is also pretty efficient. That's over 3/4 of the time he's getting his base when he tries to steal. So that's pretty good. Really just an all-around outstanding player, Ray Alejo. And Garrett Zeck also an outstanding player. I'm actually sort of surprised he wasn't voted in outright. He's a great player, the outfielder out of South Florida. He started 54 games in center field for them this season, and he's really just kept that going here. He's got a .940 OPS on the season thus far. That's only in 39 plate appearances, so people are, you're probably less aware of him at this point than you would be, say, Alejo, who's been here since the start. But Zeck, also a guy getting on .474 OBP and a .467 slugging, so both really great numbers for him. He's hit 1 home run already. He's got 8 walks to 8 strikeouts, so it's always good to see a guy getting on base like that and not striking out very much. And he's making hard contact when he puts it in play. And he's a great defensive presence, too. I mean, just last night he made several spectacular defensive plays out in left field. He's a center fielder by trade, so he's been playing a lot of left field recently for the Scorpions, but he's done a nice job out there for the team. And so Rigsby Mosley is a guy who he started really hot, and he's cooled off a little bit since then, but still has been a constant presence in this Scorpions lineup. He's started 19 games for the team. He's got a 715 OPS. He's been pretty good, steady defensively. He's been kind of the steady hand for the Scorpions, been that guy who's been, even as there's been a lot of changes and a lot of shifting around the lineup, a lot of shuffling of the roster, he's always been there, and he's been a constant calming presence for the team, and it's always been good to see him out there playing whenever he's here. And he's that guy who just, you know, he's helping to lead the team, and he's a good choice for the All-Star team as well.
Yeah, definitely. All three guys playing very well for the Scorpions. Real consistency, that's the biggest key. Alejo obviously is having a great year. It's nice to see him on there. And Zach, the only reason he wasn't voted on is some coaches felt that he hadn't played enough to warrant.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
But
yeah,
I mean, he's an absolute stud player. Since day one, he came in, and he's had a real impact on that Scorpions offense. So he's a great addition for the Florida League team. Another former MLB draft pick as well, Garrett Zech. He was a 14th rounder a couple years ago. Casey, tell us about Kyle Gutveg and Brandon White.
Well, first off, congratulations to Gutveg and his family. We totally understand why he's not going to be in the All-Star game, but this guy this year has been phenomenal. I call Gutveg the silent killer because he's in the part of the lineup sometimes, whether he's in the second, third, or fifth hole, that you're not really going to notice his production. But second in Winter Park for batting average at 370, fourth in the Florida Collegiate Summer League in batting average with that as well. 20 hits this year, 3 home runs. He had 2 home runs in one game last week, 12 RBIs and 10 runs. This guy just produces and gives the Diamond Dogs offense in a way that you don't really notice him that much. And in the outfield, he just makes every play he sees. I mean, the fielding for the Diamond Dogs hasn't really been an issue this year as we've gone later in the season towards the All-Star break. So Gutveg's done a fantastic job. He's from Embry-Riddle, by the way, so he's not far from his school. Brandon White, the other one, he arrived kind of late in the season, but he has made an impact. He's from West Virginia. His batting average is 348. He's third on Winter Park right now, 8 hits, 2 home runs, and only a limited amount of at-bats, and 7 RBIs, including 7 runs scored. So both of these guys from Winter Park, they can play the outfield. Brandon White has speed like any other. He's been on SportsCenter all the time up at West Virginia for his amazing plays in the outfield. So we know what he can do. So 2 very good individuals, definitely well-deserving to be in the outfield for the All-Star team of the South.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought up their defense. I'm confident in saying that Winter Park probably has the best defensive outfield in the league. The speed that they have at all 3 positions is just absolutely amazing to watch in person. Very few balls land for extra base hits. Those guys can cover a ton of ground out there. For Winter Garden, we have Jacob Silverstein. So, Kevin, if you want to tell us about him.
Yeah, so for Silverstein, this is going to be a second All-Star team. He was with the Diamond Dogs last season and was named onto the All-Star team. And he was a later addition, only starting on June 14th, so I missed about half of the month of June. But he has been great at the top of the lineup. Whether it's number 1 or number 2, he's been sharing that spot with Cody Burgess. He's been able to set the table for guys like Sadler Goodwin and Drew Frederick to get those RBIs further down the lineup. A 366 batting average. He's from Chipola College, University of West Florida next season. 12 runs scored out of that top of the lineup. So he gets on base, not a ton of power, but he's able to set the table for those run producers out of the 4 and 5 spots on this team. And he's also got a lot of speed. 6 stolen bases in 9 attempts. He's a guy that he has a hit in 8 of the 10 games that he's played, 2 3-hit games. So basically he's just on base most of the time, just getting ready for those big boppers like Sadler Goodwin and Drew Frederick further down the lineup. And kind of lost in all that is the speed that he brings into the outfield, whether he plays center field or right field. He plays a great outfield, able to run down a lot of balls in the gap.
Yeah, no, he's definitely having a great season. And I just want to shout out a cool little video interview you had with him. So fans, be sure to check that out at FCSL Squeeze. You can get a little inside look at Jacob Silverstein, who won a national championship at his JUCO Chipola College here in Florida this past season. To close out the offense, we do have 2 DH spots, 1 for each team. So for the North designated hitters, Will Hodges from the DeLand Suns, and the South DH is going to be Mark Felton from the Winter Park Diamond Dogs. Luke, tell us about Will Hodges.
So Hodge is another one of those guys that has really put several places in the lineup. He's played a little right field as well. He's been playing DH recently. Leads the team in runs with 10, has 1 triple as well, 4 RBIs, 1 home run, 4 walks, 12 strikeouts, 2 stolen bases. I mean, just the number of different statistics he's already racked up is pretty impressive. He's not quite a 5-tool player by any means, but he's still an excellent player. His versatility is something Coach Hall really leans on, and something that really helps the Suns lineup out that struggles to put up runs at times. So Hodges is going to be a good DH selection, and if they need him to play a little outfield as well, he can do that too.
Sure. Casey, tell us about Mark Felton.
Mark Felton, mainly a catcher from Abraham Baldwin, has been switching off with Olivier from Embry-Riddle for Winter Park so far this year. Batting average 324, which is 4th on the Diamond Dogs. 12 hits, 9 runs, 8 RBIs, and 4 doubles. And he's a pretty good staple in the lineup. Been pretty much batting in the cleanup position. He's a big guy. Waiting on his first home run so far this year, but he'll get it. If you see him in batting practice, he hits missiles.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a big guy. He's country strong, I think is fair to say. Kid from Georgia there. He's well fed. He can swing the stick a little bit. So that's it for the offense. Pretty excited to see them in action. But, of course, on the opposite end, we have some pitching. The way we do the pitching is 9 arms are selected per team. So we'll go ahead and break those down. For the North All-Stars, the leading vote getter was Michael Johnson from the Leesburg Lightning. Number 2 was Thad Harris from the DeLand Suns. Number 3 was Ryan Elaine from the Leesburg Lightning. Number 4, Drew Peden, also from Leesburg. Number 5 was C.J. Carter from the Sanford River Rats. Number 6, his teammate, Vlad Nunez from the River Rats. Number 7 was Matthew Wrights from DeLand. Ronnie Orta from Sanford was number 8. And to close out, Kyle Wiseman from the DeLand Suns. Let's go to Luke again and tell us about Harris, Reitz, and Wiseman.
So Harris is a left-handed pitcher, from Winthrop University. 2.21 ERA on the season. Last time out was against the River Rats in the game where there's an extra inning affair. Suns unfortunately lost that one. But Harris has got solid control. A fastball has got some movement on it. He tries to induce a lot of ground balls. He'll get some fly balls every now and again, but he's really aiming for the ground balls. He gets a lot of outs that way, but he's been real solid. I mean, him and Reitz have been probably one of the better 1-2 punches in the league. I know the Suns' record might not necessarily reflect that at the moment, but they're solid starters, and if the Suns can put something together, maybe get to the postseason, I feel confident throwing them out there 1-2. So talking about Reitz, he's a right-hander, 6'1", 175 from Jacksonville, Florida, Covenant College. His last time out, only 2 earned runs in 6 innings, so it's a quality start for Reitz. 25 1/3 innings is most on the Suns in his 4 starts. 2.49 ERA, just about 2.5, and 13 strikeouts to 5 walks and a 1.03 whip. So Reitz is another solid pitcher. As I said, not exactly sure who would have won 2B with Thad Harris. That'd be Coach Hall's decision, but when you have to make that call, it's a pretty good dilemma to have. Kyle Wiseman, the other pitcher, he pitched last night against Altamont. 3 1/3 innings, no runs given up. 5'10", 180 pounds at a Lake Sumter Community College. Batter's batting less than 150 against him. He's appeared 8 times. They sub 1.5 ERA. So Wiseman has been excellent in relief. Whip less than 1 as well. I mean, his numbers are fantastic. No starts for him, but you always want to have a couple middle relievers, and I think Wiseman is the correct decision.
Yeah, no, all 3 guys having a great season there up in DeLand. Let's go to Cody. Tell us about the Sanford Arms. We got C.J. Carter, Vlad Nunez, and Ronnie Orta.
So Vladimir Nunez from Stetson, 22 1/3 innings pitched, 21 strikeouts, 6 earned runs, 2-2 record. And so Nunez is a very good starter. Haven't got to see him much. He pitches a lot on the road. And then Ronnie Orta from Nova Southeastern, 20 innings pitched, 21 strikeouts, so 1 for 1 there, 7 walks, sporting a 3.48 ERA, 2-0 record. A few nights ago, pitched like 5-6 innings, gave up like 1 run. So Ronnie Orta, very good starter. And then C.J. Carter from Troy. What more can I say about this man? A closer, innings pitched, 20 strikeouts, 2.13 ERA. He has a 2-1 record with 4 saves. days ago against the Land. He gave up 2 runs. He only gave up 1 run with like 10 innings pitched. So he's very like a sidewinder, and he throws low 80s, and it is incredible. CJ Carter, well deserved.
Yeah, CJ Carter is actually one of my favorite pitchers to watch in this league. You mentioned he throws from the sidearm angle, has a nasty slider, but he can actually come over the top as well. And we have him clocked up to 90 miles an hour. So he's a guy who can change arm angles, change speeds on the ball very well. He's a really fun pitcher to watch. I'm excited to see him out there in the All-Star game. I'll talk about the Leesburg Lightning pitchers. They've got Michael Johnson. Like I said, he was the #1 vote getter this year out of North Carolina A&T.
Sounds great.
Having a tremendous season. In 5 games, he's thrown 22 innings, 14 hits, only 2 earned runs. He's got a 0.81 ERA on the year. Interesting fact, he only has 9 strikeouts in 22 innings. So he's not an overpowering guy, but he's great at making bats make weak contact. He trusts his defense behind him, and that's led to a 2-0 record for him on the year thus far. Ryan Elaine from the Florida Tech Panthers in the Sunshine State Conference, 8 games, 9 1/3 innings pitched, 8 hits, only 1 earned run, so a 0.96 ERA. He's got 16 strikeouts in 9 1/3 innings, only 4 walks. He's a flamethrower, sits in the low 90s. He was a member of the Florida League prospect team last year that played in the Southeast Prospect Showcase. Great right-handed pitcher there. And Drew Peden from Florida Atlantic. I don't know if you guys have seen Leesburg play, but he is without a doubt the best relief pitcher we have in this league. He set his mark last year as the closer for the Lightning, came back again this year after a short stint in the Cape Cod League. He's got 7.2 innings pitched. He's allowed 3 hits, and that's it. No runs, no walks. He has 14 strikeouts, 2-0 on the year, 3 saves. Absolutely electric out of the bullpen. Another sidearm guy, throws it from a weird angle. It confuses the batters. They cannot touch his stuff at all. Drew Peden having an amazing season for the Lightning. So that's it for the North pitching staff. South hitters will have a fun time with that, I'm sure. But on the flip side, we've got the South pitchers. So here they are. The #1 vote getter for the South pitchers was Jared Senall from the Altamont Springs Scorpions. #2 was Connor Andrews from the Winter Park Diamond Dogs. #3, Trey Vanderweide from Altamont. #4 was Tyler Kaiser from Winter Park. #5 was Matt Osett from Altamont. #6, Jimmy Robbins from Altamont. #7, Ryan Ashworth from Winter Garden. #8, Grant Baker from Winter Park. And #9, Ethan Jones from Winter Garden. So, David, you guys have 4 of the 9 pitchers representing the Scorpions. They're having great years out there, and there's some great arms that didn't make the team. Tell us a little bit about the Altamont pitching staff.
The Altamont pitching staff's been great. Honestly, like you said, there were a few guys who didn't make it. David Litchfield, Sean Feltner are guys who honestly could have made it possibly. They've both pitched really well as well. But honestly, I think the core group of guys who I would have put on have made it. Jared Senall, I mean, I don't know what else there is to say right now. If you had a league leader for Cy Young, he would be it. 0.76 ERA. He's struck out 21 hitters. He's walked only 5. He's walking fewer than 6% of the hitters he faces, and he's striking out nearly a quarter of the hitters he faces. That's a pretty good ratio. That's a pretty good spread on that. And with only a point, and you know, when you do something like that, that's what's going to lead you to only a 0.76 ERA. He's made 6 appearances, 3 as a starter, and he's been truly excellent. He doesn't really have overpowering stuff. He's not going to throw 90, but he knows exactly what spots to hit, and he's great at executing on that game plan. He's a command artist, and he's been very, very good doing that. Trey Vanderweide, also a really good starting pitcher, a guy who's made a few relief appearances as well. Started out of the bullpen just like Senall, but has made 3 starts for the team, 17 strikeouts to only 3 walks, a 1.16 ERA. Once again, a guy who hitters are hitting less than 200 against. Just really good pitcher and having a really great season, just phenomenal. You know, like I said, maybe not quite as good as Senall, but not every pitcher has to be, and Vanderweide in his own right has been really, really good. Matthew Osett got roughed up a little bit last night's game, but otherwise has been an excellent reliever. He's struck out, that would be 20 hitters in 12 and a thirds innings. Has only walked 6 hitters, hitting 156 against him. So really excellent season for him, a .73 ERA, probably the most steady and dependable reliever on the Scorpions team. We go to him in pretty much every high leverage situation. You got runners on late in the game. You need a guy to come in and shut the door. Oset's the first guy we always turn to because we know he's the guy most likely to get those crucial outs. And Jimmy Robbins, of course, 1.56 ERA, 20 strikeouts and 8 walks. He had a start several weeks ago where he struck out 12 hitters. That's been his standout performance thus far. He went 7 in that one and struck out 12. So that was an incredible night for him. Overall, it's been a pretty good season as a starting pitcher. He does have a little bit more overpowering stuff, but he's been really good and very deserving. And along with Vanderwide and Sennel, he's formed a 1-2-3 punch for the Scorpions that's given them a chance to win a lot of games.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Altamont staff overall has been great. I think they're among the league leaders in strikeouts. They dominate from all sides of the plate, or both arms of the mound, we'll call it. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to Winter Park. Casey, we've got Connor Andrews, Tyler Kaiser, and Grant Baker.
Let's start with Connor Andrews, the right-handed pitcher from University of North Florida. 4-0 record this year, which is the most wins in the Florida League. 1.80 ERA, which is third in the Florida League. 24 strikeouts, which leads the Florida League. And in 20 innings, he's only allowed 7 hits. This guy's been superb on the mound, working very quickly, throwing strikes, not walking guys, not putting guys on base. And 7 hits in 20 innings. He started 3 of those 4 games. He's done a spectacular job coming in that one game which started the year, which gave him the starting job after he picked up the first win. And he's just continued to roll ever since then. Tyler Kaiser, right-handed pitcher from Eastern Florida State College, 1-0, 1.28 ERA, 16 strikeouts in 14 innings. He's only allowed 8 hits. Here's a guy who also likes to throw strikes, doesn't put too many guys on bases, really keeps it within himself, and he tries to keep his composure, which he's done a great job this year. And then Grant Baker on the other side of the spectrum, when you had those two who were mainly starters. Baker's been the reliever out of University of New Orleans. The right-handed pitcher has a 1.12 ERA, 6 games of relief so far. In 8 innings, he's struck out 12, has only allowed 3 hits and 2 walks. And his 2 saves this year is tied for 4th in the Florida League. So the staff this year for Winter Park, we could have added a few more, but, man, they've done a great job. And these 3 specifically have definitely deserved their spot on the All-Star team this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And Andrews is the reigning Florida League Pitcher of the Week. One of my favorite stats about him, in his past 2 starts, 11 innings pitched, he's allowed 2 hits in 11 innings. Absolutely ridiculous numbers from the North Florida Osprey. To finish out the pitching staff, we've got Winter Garden. Kevin, tell us about Ryan Ashworth and Ethan Jones.
Yeah, so we'll start off with Ryan Ashworth out of Flagler College. He's a guy that won't overpower you. He's got a fastball in the mid to maybe upper 80s, 85 to maybe 87, and a changeup. But he's been really consistent. He's 2-0 with a 2 ERA, 18 innings pitched, a 194 batting average against. Not a lot of strikeouts, 14 strikeouts. But the Squeeze, as a pitching staff as a whole, have really struggled with walks near the bottom in that category. And Ryan Ashworth, just 4 walks in 18 innings. He's been able to get guys out. He gets outs on the ground, in the air, and he's a guy that'll give you 5 solid innings consistently. His last start against the Scorpions, he went 4 innings for the win, 4 strikeouts, and he was perfect through those 4 innings. So he's been very consistent near the top of that rotation for the Squeeze. And Ethan Jones, also out of Flagler College, he's the closer for this team, and he throws from a sidearm slot, one of 3 guys on this team to do that. 5 saves, a 1.26 whip, 1.74 ERA. He gets guys on sometimes, but he always finds a way to get out of those jams and to lock down those innings and get the save. And Coach Welsh really loves to go to him in those high leverage situations. He's the guy that Welsh trusts to close out the game. And he's also a Winter Garden native. He's pitching at his alma mater high school at West Orange, so there's also that comfort level there. He's been consistent out of the back end of that bullpen.
Indeed. So that's it. Those are your lineups for the 2017 Florida League All-Star Game presented by Central Florida McDonald's. However, It is an all-star game, so there's a little bit more than just the game. We also have the home run derby going on. So these are going to be your contestants for the home run derby from each team. Each team will have 2 participants representing. We do a full round where all 12 guys hit, and then we take, I believe, the top 3 hitters from those, and they go on and hit in the final round for the championship. So representing the North from DeLand, we're going to have Jay Hayes from FGCU and Zach Goebel. Luke, where's he going? He's transferring, right?
Right now he's at Augusta State.
Yeah. From Armstrong State to Augusta State there.
Yeah.
Thanks for the assist. For the Leesburg Lightning, Bubba Sangster, who just graduated high school in May. He's headed to St. John's River. He'll be representing the Lightning along with Michael Koenig from Coastal Carolina. And for the Sanford River Rats, Richie Rivera from the University of Tampa, who's an all-star, will be in it along with Zach Dewart from Missouri. And so those will be your 6 from the North. From the South team, Altamont, obviously Ray Alejo with his league-leading 4 home runs out of UCF, as well as Garrett Zeck out of USF, both all-stars. They'll be in. For Winter Garden, Sadler Goodwin, again, tied for the league lead with 4 home runs out of Troy. And he'll be along with Cody Burgess from Florida Southern. And for Winter Park, Mark Felton, the DH all-star starter, along with Matt Mackey from Northwest Florida State. He will also be in the Derby. So real quick, guys, tell me why one of your guys is going to win. We'll start at the bottom. Casey, which Winter Park guy is going to win?
Who are the 2?
Mark Felton and Matt Mackey.
Oh, Matt. Well, Matt Mackey has showed exclusive power so far this year. He's got a home run. And as far as Felton goes, we've seen what he's done in batting practice. So those 2 both, if I had to pick one of the 2, I'd probably go with Mackey, though, because that guy can go consistently back to back to back.
Absolutely. All right. In Winter Garden, Sadler Goodwin, Cody Burgess. Which one's going to win?
I'd have to go with Sadler Goodwin. You mentioned before that he's tied for the league lead in home runs with 4, but he's a guy that last season he was with Jackson State, and he ranked 17th in all of JUCO in homers. He hit 370 with 17 homers. So this isn't something new for him. He's been jacking out balls all season going back to college. So Sadler Goodwin for sure is my pick from Winter Garden.
All right. In Altamont, who's going to win? We got Ray Alejo or Garrett Zeck?
I got to take Alejo. The guy has extreme pull power, and that's a good way to win a home run derby is to try and pull the ball to a foul, towards a foul pole. Hitting it out to center field is not the best way to go about that. You want to get to that short porch and launch those balls over it, and Alejo is good at that. He's good at hitting it out towards the left field stands, and that's something he's going to do repeatedly. And if I had to choose a guy, I think he's a pretty fair bet to make it to the finals of that.
All right. In Sanford, we got Richie Rivera or Zach Dewart. Cody, who you got?
I think I might have to go with Richie Rivera. He has 2 home runs, has some pop in the bottom of the lineup, and he brings it. I think he's a competitor, and I think he will get the job done.
Yeah, plus hitting his home park. He's familiar with it, so we'll see what he can do there. I'll handle Leesburg. They've got Bubba Sangster and Michael Koenig. I'm going to go with my boy Bubba, the young freshman headed to St. John's River. He only has 1 home run on the season, but that 1 home run was hit in Leesburg, and he hit the boathouse out in left center field. I don't know if you guys have been to Pat Thomas Stadium yet, but that is an absolute shot, and he put one off the boathouse in left center. Really impressive stuff from the young kid, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him take home the trophy. In DeLand, Jay Hayes or Zach Goebel? Who you got, Luke?
I'm going to go with Jay Hayes. Both Hayes and Goebel have 1 home run on the year. Hayes is a pretty big guy, 6 foot, 210 pounds, pretty strong batter. Batting average hasn't been fantastic this year, but a lot of his balls have been pretty well hit. And just playing at Melching Field, it's a pretty pitcher-friendly park, makes it pretty hard to hit home runs. I know Winter Park just hit the first 2 of the season there a couple games ago. So I'm going to say Jay Hayes.
All right. So there you have it, folks. That is the lineup for the 2017 Florida League All-Star Game presented by Central Florida McDonald's. It's going to take place this Saturday, July 8th at historic Sanford Memorial Stadium. The Home Run Derby starts at 6 p.m. The All-Star Game will start at 7 p.m. And if you have any youth players who want to shag balls during the Home Run Derby, you can sign up for that at floridaleague.com. So for David in Altamont, Luke in DeLand, Cody in Sanford, Kevin in Winter Garden, and Casey in Winter Park, I'm Phil Chinnery from the league office. We hope you enjoyed this, and we look forward to seeing you on Saturday at the All-Star Game presented by Central Florida McDonald's. Have a great Independence Day, everybody.